התחרות על שם ון קלייברן נחשבת בעיני רבים כגדולה בעולם. התחרות החשובה מכולם. מי שזוכה בה בפרס הראשון, עתידו מובטח. הוא יכול לנגן קונצרטים בכל מקום, מתי שרק ירצה. ואיתנו היום הזוכה בפרס הראשון, הוא שמו ודים חולודנקו. שלום ודים.
Shalom, Arik.
We shall start with Etude Tableau by Rachmaninoff. Etude Cartina. What does that mean?
I always feel that why Rachmaninoff named it Etude Tableau, and he never put exact name of each piece, because he did like to sort of nourish imagination of the performer, because sometimes performers got restrained.
Yes.
If he has like precise name, then his imagination could be like in limits. And what Rachmaninoff gave us is this sort of gift to bring something by our own imagination, by our own perception of music.
He says it is an etude tableau. It is a picture. You are invited to fantasize the picture, but I'm not going to tell you what is your picture. Am I right?
This exactly, I think, that what Rachmaninoff had.
And this is in the footsteps of Chopin, who also refrained from giving names. He says it is a ballad. So by telling it is a ballad, he says, okay, there is a story behind it. That's why I call it a ballad. But I'm not going to tell you the story. So what is the story of the first one you are going to play for us?
I always felt that the very first etude from Opus 39 is about some sort of weather condition around us. You know, it could be turmoil in the air.
Turbulence.
It could be turbulence.
Yeah, I think of some pictures by Shishkin or Serov, or tell me some more names of painter, of great Russian painter from the Tretyakov Gallery, or
you know, I'm thinking now about Aivazovsky.
Aivazovsky, yeah.
And about his paintings of the sea,
yes,
of that huge waves. And again, this is my perception, and I bet that if some pianist will be next to us, he could say some different opinions, some different image.
It's lovely to fight about it, but now I share the same feeling. Those turbulence is really Aivazovsky, a painting of a storm, a sea storm. He was a seaman. He was in the Navy, wasn't he? Aivazovsky.
I think so.
Yes.
Rachmaninoff, of course, he's offspring of Russian culture. He's offspring of that explosion which happened to Russian music after Glinka and Tchaikovsky and Mussorgsky and all those great names. And of course, it's amazing how he connected that period of Russian history with the 20th century.
And also the Russian soul, this Russkaya dusha, the Shirokaya dusha, this unbelievably warm and good soul and personality hearts. So let us start with Opus 39, number 1. Vadim, that was so beautiful, thanks. I still recall in the corridor of the Tchaikovsky Conservatory in Moscow a plaque, marble plaque, and it says that in this vintage, in this year, classmates, graduates are Rachmaninov and Scriabin. Two of them, same year, same class.
Unfortunately, that marble plaque is no more there.
What?
After renovation, I bet it's still in the conservatory, but it's not on the same spot.
I thought this was the most beautiful item in the whole conservatory.
I think the most impressive because all those names and with Konius and with another one students.
Yeah. So why don't we hear a piece written by the classmate whose name is Scriabin? The two boys graduated together, as we said.
Yes, it is going to be a poem Tragic by Alexander Scriabin.
Vadim, I think now it's a time to talk about competitions. We have to, don't we?
Of course.
Tell our friends in Israel that you and me met in this competition. You played, you were a contestant, belonged to the good guys, and I was a member of the bad guys. I was a jury member. That's very weird to meet together today.
It's a beautiful feeling because it's really strange in competition. You most of the time you detached from the jury, and only in your mind, only in your imagination, you can bring up some ideas what's going on that side of the world. And out of my experience, after any competition, after Schubert competition or Sendai, it was such a pleasure to finally meet jury members and speak with them and understand they're not just kind of abstractions. Which
You know, when you win first prize, it's very pleasant to meet them.
in my life experience, there were some episodes when I did not win the first prize, and it was still pleasant to meet jury members. So
Sure.
at least to have, I believe it's so important for any musician at any stage of his life or his career to have a feedback.
We are going to hear now another etude tableau by Rachmaninoff. And here it's not so much a picture, but rather a story. Can you tell us the story, the plot, what's going on?
So the very common image of that etude tableau is always about the Red Hood, about the girl, and about the wolf. It's really interesting that this etude tableau was written for actually Opus 33, and then for some reason, I really don't know why Rachmaninoff took it away from Opus 33 and put in the Opus 39. And I believe I've read some book about Etude Tableau, and there was an interesting story, an interesting investigation of letters of Rachmaninoff about this Etude Tableau, and there was a passage about Rachmaninoff who left Russia, and he left for a particular reason. And of course, he was very agitated. He was very afraid of World War and of all craziness which was happening in Europe. And for him, that wolf, the image of wolf, was kind of craziness which was going on.
A metaphor. So the wolves are threatening and then escaping.
And
Fearful.
Try to escape. And Rachmaninoff, whom very difficult compared to girl, but he was escaping, definitely. He was escaping from a turmoil which was going around him.
Thanks, Vadim. That was really so characteristic, so Russian. We are going to conclude with another piece by Scriabin, but now it's a completely different style. Who is Scriabin by now?
It's very interesting that Scriabin was and is and will be always a thing inside itself. And Scriabin always had the very small group of partisans who admiring him and group of people who completely distaste him.
But the style now, Rachmaninoff kept about same style throughout his life. And Scriabin changed tremendously. He became so modern, so enigmatic.
It's interesting. I once read some analysis of his works, and there was a big article about the fact that in the end of his life, in the very last works, he actually restrained himself to two harmonies.
Yes.
It's so interesting. Out of that super romantic style, he came to this. It's really difficult to name it romantic. Of course, it's very subjective, and this is the main trend of romanticism. But still, it's just Scriabin, and there are many composers who try to follow him, and all of them ended with their own style because it's impossible to copy Scriabin.
Yes, and another amazing fact is that in the beginning, at the age of 18, Rachmaninoff and Scriabin were so similar, and then the roads separated, and at the end of the day, they are like completely two different styles.
I think that Scriabin was always belong to Western culture. That's what I felt. And Rachmaninoff stayed always with what we say Russian style. It's of course it's very common names, and they interconnected in some point. But Scriabin was always admired by Western composers.
And to conclude our program, you are going to play for us
It's going to be a poem Satanic.
Satanic.
Satanic, and it's a perfect example how name could alter our imagination.
Thank you so much, Vadim. That was really amazing. Большое спасибо. Большое спасибо, Vadim.
Пожалуйста, спасибо вам.